What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus check update, the stimulus package update, daily news, everything going on here in our country, the stock market, money, investing, pretty much everything you need to know about on a daily basis. Remember that new videos come out here on our channel every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe down below. It's completely free to do so. I will keep you up to date with everything going on, as well as this next stimulus package, the physical infrastructure package, and President Biden and the Democrats have said there will be another stimulus package after this and a big Social Security raise coming in addition to the cost of living adjustment raise for Social Security, the 5.9%. There's two new bills for Social Security raises that have just been introduced to raise Social Security benefits by a big amount. And they can do this by increasing Social Security taxes for people that make over $400,000. And they can do this by introducing a tax that for people that make over $400,000 to help pay for that in the future. So there's going to be a lot of things going on here in the future. After this stimulus package, this infrastructure package, there's going to be another stimulus package. But before we get to that, we have to pass this stimulus package. And, well, that's where it comes to Senator Joe Manchin and him changing his mind. Yeah. First, we're supposed to be voting on this package as early as tomorrow. By the way, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button for me because remember, I put in a lot of work for you guys and I have nothing to do with Joe Manchin and the Democrats and the Republicans. I put in a lot of hard work for you guys here on this channel and don't take the blame out of me. I'm just a messenger and I'll report to you guys what's going on here. Joe Manchin's Joe Manchin. Hit the like button for me, not for Joe Manchin. They're supposed to be voting on this bill tomorrow. As you can see here, House Democrats Tuesday vote on the infrastructure and the safety net bill, the stimulus package, the American Families Plan. It's still a possibility they can vote on this tomorrow. They're trying to put several last-minute items in there, including a prescription drug pricing plan to lower the cost of prescription drug pricing. Lots of last-minute things being potentially put in this bill, including a vote-a-rama process when they go to the voting process. Lots of last-minute things get introduced here at the last minute and could still be voted on tomorrow. But this is where we get into Senator Joe Manchin. And, well, Senator Joe Manchin just had a big press conference. And I'm going to show it to you right now. And we're going to break down this press conference and what he has to say and what this means going forward. And, well, here's the press conference. I'll break down what it means, and you can let me know your thoughts on this. You know, Senator Joe Manchin's theme song, dun, dun, dun. Well, he's living up to every little bit of that theme song. Well, here he is, Senator Joe Manchin, a Democrat. Can't make this stuff up, guys. Here he is.
I've heard a lot of the mischaracterizations of my position since the president met with the House Democrats last Thursday, and I would like to make an attempt to clear up any confusion about where I stand on the legislation that's working its way through Congress. In all of my years of public service, and I've been around for a long time, I've never seen anything like this. The President of the United States has addressed the House Democratic Caucus twice recently to urge action on the bipartisan infrastructure bill, which sometimes we refer to as the BIF bill. Last week, Speaker Pelosi urged the importance of voting and passing the BIF bill before the President took the world stage overseas, and still no action. In my view, this is not how the United States Congress should operate, or in my view, has operated in the past. The political games have to stop. Twice now, the House has balked at the opportunity to send the BIF legislation to the President. As you've heard, there are some House Democrats who say they can't support this infrastructure package until they get my commitment on the reconciliation legislation.
Now, I'll pause here for a moment. I can kind of agree with Joe Manchin here. I do actually, if I was just looking at this from an outside point of view, if I was looking at this from a moderate Democrat point of view, saying if I was looking at this from Joe Manchin's point of view, somebody who wanted to pass the physical infrastructure point of view, I would, if I was looking at this from his point of view, I would say, yeah, it is unfair that they're holding the physical infrastructure bill hostage and not passing that. But the reason they're doing that is because they fear that Joe Manchin, and probably rightfully so, if they pass the physical infrastructure package first, that he probably won't pass the stimulus package or will delay it, which we'll get to here in a second. So that's the reason why, and we'll hear this here in a second. On the progressive Democrats basically want to his commitment or want to pass the stimulus package first to ensure that as soon as they pass the stimulus package, then they're willing to pass the physical infrastructure package, roads, bridges, clean drinking water, millions of jobs for America, billions of dollars for each state, physical infrastructure package. As soon as they pass the stimulus package or get his commitment that they're going to pass the stimulus package, they will pass the physical infrastructure package. So that's what he's talking about there.
It is time to vote on the BIF bill, up or down, and then go home and explain to your constituents the decision you made. And I've always said, if I can't go home and explain it, I can't vote for it, and if I can, I will. I've worked in good faith for 3 months, for the past 3 months, with President Biden, Leader Schumer, Speaker Pelosi, and my colleagues on the reconciliation bill, and I will continue to do so. For the sake of the country, I urge the House to vote and pass the bipartisan infrastructure bill. Holding this bill hostage is not going to work in getting my support for reconciliation bill. Throughout the last 3 months, I've been straightforward about my concerns that I will not support a reconciliation package that expands social programs and irresponsibly adds to our $29 trillion in national debt that no one seems to really care about or even talk about. Nor will I support a package that risks hurting American families suffering from historic inflation.
Okay, so Joe Manchin says he won't support a bill that adds anything to the national debt. Here's a news article from Fox News, who's a Republican news station. And it says the Biden reconciliation framework costs $1.75 trillion and includes $1.99 trillion in tax hikes. Even Fox News is confirming that the bill is fully paid for. So the bill will cost $1.75 trillion and has $1.99 trillion in tax hikes or paid for. Okay. So the bill is more than paid for. Okay. So there's no money added to the national debt. In fact, it's more than paid for. Okay. Even Fox News is confirming this. Okay. So the bill is more than paid for. In fact, it's $200 billion, $240 billion, almost $250 billion more than paid for. So when Joe Manchin says that he's not going to pass a bill that adds to the national debt, he's just lying because it's not true. The bill is more than paid for. And when he said he's not going to, I don't know if he says it yet or if he's going to say it, that he doesn't want to pass a bill that's going to hurt American families because of inflation's high right now. Well, what would help American families right now is helping American families with their costs right now. The child tax credits right now, 65 million families, those payments are going to end next month on December 15th. Okay. $250 to $300 monthly payments going out to 65 million families, 65 million children. December 15th is the last payment for that. Guess what? If they don't pass this package, those payments stop. 65 million children, 65 million families no longer get those payments. Do you think that's going to help, or do you think that's going to hurt if those payments stop? Also, childcare. We've talked about on this channel that one of the big things in this package is a lot of families spend 20 to 33% of their income if the mom and dad go to work and they have to send their children to childcare. And then they're spending 20 to 30% of their income in childcare. That's a lot of money, right? Imagine if you don't have to spend that, or if you significantly reduce that down to 7%. That's one of the things in this package. Affordable housing. They're going to spend $150 billion in affordable housing. as well as rental assistance in this package. Rental assistance is going out right now. I have a video on how to get rental assistance, how to get your rent paid from the third stimulus check package, and more money in this next stimulus package. Medicare benefits for seniors. New Medicare benefits in this next package. Again, helping out seniors, as well as that Social Security raise possibly in this next stimulus package. Maybe even a fourth stimulus check for adults. Would that help out people with inflation? Would that help out people in need? That'd be a nice thing to add into the stimulus package. Would that help out people right now, Joe Manchin? But Joe Manchin says, I don't want to hurt people right now with high inflation. These are things that would help out people right now. So not passing these things and lowering prescription drug prices. 66% of Americans, adults, are on prescriptions, and lowering the cost of those, would that help or would that hurt people right now? And again, the package is fully paid for by raising taxes on corporations that make billions of dollars and pay little to no taxes, like Amazon made $11.2 billion in 1 year, multiple different years, and they pay $0 in taxes. Billionaires that pay $0 in taxes in some years, or little taxes, sometimes they pay 1% in taxes, and wealthy individuals that make $400,000 a year or more. So again, the average everyday person is not going to see a tax increase. In fact, the average everyday person is probably going to see a tax decrease through these different tax incentives, an adult earned income tax or an adult tax credit, and the multiple different programs in this package. They're also pushing to get paid family leave and medical leave put back in this package. There's so many different things in this package that would help out multiple different groups of people, but Joe Manchin doesn't want to help out people. If they pass nothing, and here's the other thing, right, is on December 3rd, the debt limit is going to be reached or breached again, and the country's going to default, which means that the Treasury is going to literally run out of money. And that means Social Security payments are not going to go out. We've seen this. We've talked about this on the channel. President Biden has confirmed this. Senators have confirmed this. Congress has confirmed this, that Social Security payments could or will be delayed. Child tax credit payments, that December 15th payment might not go out because December 3rd is the date. So that comes before December 15th. And they need to pass this package to raise the debt limit because the Republicans said they're not going to do it. So if they don't pass this package, if Joe Manchin's not on board with it, what are they going to do? I can't even believe Joe Manchin. I just can't. They're ready to vote on this by tomorrow, and Joe Manchin's now saying these things. They have to pass the debt limit by next month in what do they, it's just like, and Republicans are refusing to raise the debt limit again after Mitch McConnell helped the Democrats and then Chuck Schumer blasted them for helping them. And then now the Democrats have to do it on their own, but Joe Manchin's pulling this stunt. Here's the rest of what he has to say.
I will not support a bill that is this consequential without thoroughly understanding the impact that it'll have on our national debt, our economy, and most importantly, all of our American people. Every elected representative needs to know what they are voting for and the impact it has, not only on their constituents, but the entire country. That is why we must allow time for complete transparency and analysis on the impact of changes to our tax code and energy and climate policies to ensure that our country is well positioned to remain the superpower of the world while we inspire the rest of the world towards a cleaner environment. And this all can be done. I, for one, won't support a multi-trillion-dollar bill without greater clarity about why Congress chooses to ignore the serious effects of inflation and debt that have on our economy and existing government programs. For example, how can I in good conscience vote for a bill that proposes massive expansion of social programs when vital programs like Social Security and Medicare face insolvency, and benefits could start being reduced as soon as 2026 in Medicare and 2033 in Social Security. How does that make sense? I don't think it does. Meanwhile, elected leaders continue to ignore exploding inflation, that our national debt continues to grow, and interest payments on the debt will start to rapidly increase when the Fed has to start raising interest rates to try to slow down this runaway inflation. With the factors in mind, and all of these factors that we've spoken about, I've worked in good faith for months with all of my colleagues to find a middle ground on a fiscally, and I repeat that, a fiscally responsible piece of legislation that fixes the flaws of the 2017 Trump tax bill that I thought was weighted far, far too far for the high-end earners and the needs of the American families and children. However, as more of the real details outlined in the basic framework are released, what I see are shell games, budget gimmicks that make the real cost of the so-called $1.75 trillion bill estimated to be almost twice that amount if the full time is run out, if you extended it permanently, and that we haven't even spoken about. This is a recipe for economic crisis. None of us should ever misrepresent to the American people what the real cost of legislation is. While I've worked hard to find a path to compromise, it's obvious compromise is not good enough for a lot of my colleagues in Congress. It's all or nothing, and their position doesn't seem to change unless we agree to everything. Enough is enough. It's time our elected leaders in Washington, all of us, stop playing games with the needs of the American people and holding a critical infrastructure bill hostage. While there's opportunity in the reconciliation bill that we can all agree on, and we've been talking about this for months. Again, to be clear, I will not support the reconciliation legislation without knowing how the bill will impact our debt and our economy and our country, and we won't know that until we work through the text. For the sake of our country, I am urging all of my colleagues in the House to vote and pass the bipartisan infrastructure bill. It's bipartisan, 69 votes. We worked on that for many, many months. As I've said before, holding that bill hostage is not going to work to get my support of what you want. It's what we should all agree on and work through the process. I'm open to supporting a final bill that helps move our country forward, but I am equally open to voting against a bill that hurts our country. And I've been very clear about that also. And most importantly, hurts every American. Let's work together, and I mean that. Let's all work together on getting a sensible reconciliation package, a package that really strengthens our nation and makes us better and leads the world. Thank you all. Let me say one thing. I'm not going to negotiate in public on this because I've been dealing in good faith, and I will continue to deal in good faith with all of my colleagues on both sides. It's time to pass the bill and quit playing games.
Wow. So he says it's time to pass the bill and quit playing games. So let me give you the gist of kind of what I gather here from what he's saying. It looks like he wants to see the text of the bill, which isn't written. And remember, even after they write a bill, they're going to go through a vote-a-rama process, which means they kind of go through amendments process on the floor of the House and the Senate. And we know that there will be multiple different things added on the floor when they do that. Remember that even Joe Manchin was responsible for adding things from the third stimulus check package, the $10,200 unemployment tax-free provision from the third stimulus check package. So remember saying that even after they write the bill, things get added. Remember in the second stimulus check package that after they wrote the bill, the second stimulus check was added after they wrote the bill. So even after they write the bill, things get added in, and things get added in even after they write the bill on the floor, on the voting floor during the vote-a-rama process. Okay, so just remember that, keep that in mind, because things always seem to just get added in at the very last moment. I'm thinking what he's saying here is that he wants to have it written, have the text, go through it, and have it scored by the Congressional Budget Office and see what the true cost of it is. But on the other hand, a lot of what he's saying to me just doesn't really seem true. He's saying that this stuff's going to hurt the American people. The cost of inflation is going to hurt people, that this isn't paid for when it is paid for, that this package is going to be twice the size of it, but it's not $3.5 trillion anymore. It's some of this stuff, it almost kind of like, what? Like it almost just doesn't even like, if I could respond to him like right then and there, like I'd be like, what are you talking about? Like, you do realize the bill is 1.75 trillion now, not 3.5 trillion. Like I wish I could be there to like respond to him right then and there, like, Joe, you realize it's not 3.5 trillion anymore, right? And I could be like, I wish I could ask him and be like, Joe, you realize the bill's paid for, right? You do realize that, right? And of course, he didn't take any questions, right? Of course, right? So it's just like, honestly, we'll have to see. It looks like he wants to see a bill written. It looks like he wants to see the bill scored by the Congressional Budget Office, which honestly they could do pretty quickly, and then negotiate with him. So, and honestly, that seems fair. That seems fair, and honestly, that kind of seems like a pretty logical thing to do. I mean, we've kind of seen in the past where they write the bill and then vote on it an hour later, and we've had a lot of criticism, even from progressive Democrats like AOC in the past, where she criticized even Nancy Pelosi in the past, where she says they kind of give us the bill and then the bill's 2,000 pages, just as an example, and they expect us to vote on it an hour later when we haven't even had time to read through the bill. So it does make sense to say, hey, we want to not only have time to read through the bill, but have the Congressional Budget Office score the bill, which means basically go through it and do the math on it, right? Score it and give us the accounting on like how it's going to affect the budget, how it's going to affect the country, how it's going to affect you, me, and everybody here in the country. So let me know your thoughts. Does it seem terrible? Does it seem logical? How does it seem to you? Does it seem reasonable? Does it seem like Joe Manchin's a complete turd? Uh, I like I kind of have some mixed emotions. On one hand, I kind of feel like Joe Manchin's a complete turd. That's kind of how my wife felt. But on the other hand, I think he has some reasonable points. Like, I do feel like they should write a bill, they should score it, they should do the math, they should make sure that it's fully paid for, they should make sure that everything is as it seems, nobody's pulling the wool over anybody's eyes, et cetera, et cetera. And then they should go through the vote-a-rama process, the amendment process, where they try to add some things in. Of course, we know they're trying to add things in now. We have multiple groups calling for stimulus checks for adults, in addition to the child tax credit, those monthly payments. But on the other hand, we also need to make sure that we get this done in a timely fashion. Those monthly checks for children, which they say 47% of those checks go to children that literally depend on them for food, are going to expire next month. The other problem is that they have to pass this bill by next month to raise the debt limit, or else the country is going to default. And the Republicans said they're not passing it this time around because Schumer, the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, the leader of the Democrats, blasted them. And I knew that was a mistake. And again, I just felt like he should have just went to the 11 Republicans, thanked the 11 Republicans for doing their job. The other 39 Republicans, he should have just said, you guys didn't do your job. At least 11 Republicans did their job, and said, all right, we passed it. We got one extra vote. At least we prevented the country from defaulting. The problem is now is if Joe Manchin, if they run into a problem here, what's going to happen if the country defaults, which means the country literally runs out of money, and then Social Security payments don't go out, and then child tax credit payments don't go out, and the country defaults literally on its bond payments and interest, and we have that whole scenario, which is going to happen again. So we have really a lot at stake here. We have really a lot at stake here. So now here's the other thing: is that the House could still vote on this tomorrow, or the next day. Depends on if, because they're still trying to add in the prescription drug pricing in there. That might take a little bit more time, depending on if they're adding it into the bill or not. We'll have to see. Because remember, that's the House. The House can vote on it. Joe Manchin's in the Senate. The House can pass a bill and then send it over to the Senate, and then see what happens with Joe Manchin in the Senate. So remember, House and Senate are two different entities, basically. We'll have to see what happens. It's getting interesting. It's like a real life drama, a real life soap opera in real life. You can't make this stuff up. So let me know your thoughts. Joe Manchin is just can't. This guy is. On one hand, I kind of agree with him that we do need to see the text, we do need to see the bill, we do need to score it and make sure that everything is on the up and up. I do agree with him there, but on the other hand, we can't we got to pass the bill and make sure that the support that is in the bill gets passed. So let me know your thoughts. I'll keep you up to date. Make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't yet so you don't miss out on new videos. It's completely free to do so. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will keep you up to date with everything going on here in our country. You can click here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video is how there's two new bills coming out for Social Security to raise Social Security benefits, in addition to the 5.9% cost of living adjustment that is very big. That's a big increase coming out as well. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.